Well, hello everybody. It's so good that you've joined the broadcasting network today. I'm so excited that you're here. We have such a great man of God. He wasn't such a great man of God when he was younger. He's actually from Hell's Angels and how God has got a hold of him. He is an amazing man. He goes around speaking about how great God is. And I just got a hold of him through a friend. And I'm so excited what he's going to share today. You know, God can take anybody. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you've done. But God can take anybody and change them into what he has called Shawn to be. So today I want to introduce Shawn to you. He's an amazing man. So stay with us. Shawn, it's so good to have you on the show today. I'm so excited to interview you. I have told a few people about you because I'm like, how did God get a hold of you? Like from where you were? Because I know you shared with me that you have a big family and you're the youngest of how many kids?
16.
16
I had 12
children.
brothers and 3 sisters. And
Wow.
I'm the big baby.
And
Yes.
he's the big baby, not the little baby, but the big baby.
Yes.
But you weren't born in a Christian home. Well, your mom was, she had a faith.
Exactly. My mom had a faith where she only had the one sister, and her sister passed away by drowning. And from then on, her and her mom were real God terms. You know what I mean? They really believed in it. They were real prayer warriors. And because every night I see my mom at the side of her bed praying. And but nobody else in the family went that way. Except later on, when I was about 10 years old, I had one brother out of the 12 brothers that found faith. So
wow. So
many.
you had expressed that you went into doing drugs and alcohol and got into Hell's Angels.
Yes, that was about, like, up till I was 14, I did real well in school. You know, like good marks. I won an award for being the best student in the school. But at 14, walking home one day from school, I got beat up by a bunch of men and put in the hospital. And that was just a turning point in my life where I said that it would never happen again. So I became the bully.
So you became the strong guy.
I became the strong guy. And it was from then on that the tides turned, and I found the alcohol and the drugs. And that gave me even more courage because I was playing something that I really wasn't, you know what I mean? And I played it well because it lasted for like 45 years.
Wow. Well, I find back in the day when I used to be a bar singer, we call that liquid courage.
Yes.
Liquid courage, right? The more you drank, the more courage you got.
Yes, that's true. But in my case, I think I did it for so long that it ended up being my persona. I didn't need the liquid courage anymore. Actually, it became the total opposite. I would go to the guy's place when we were sober to show him that, I can beat you up when we're sober, you know what I mean? So it was just terrible. It was a terrible way to live. But at the time, that's all I knew about living, was that was the only way. I never knew any other way.
So at that point, did you stay connected to your family, or did you just stay with your biking family?
I kind of led like a double life, really, because I stayed with my family, but then, I'd take these 3 or 4 days away, and that's when I would do the biker lifestyle. But I tried not to take it home, per se, too much, you know what I mean? Like, you can't leave it all away, but, obviously I come home, I was sick from partying for the days and days, but for the most part, I tried being a dad and a husband and that when I come home. But as far as the partying and everything else, I did that when I was out biking with the boys.
Right. So you have children?
I have a daughter and a son and 4 grandsons.
Wow.
So
and
that's great.
Your wife, she must be a saint.
She's my angel, definitely.
She's helped you through many things in your life, for sure. That's the thing about a strong marriage. When one falls, the other person picks the other person up,
Yep.
right? You can't be all strong at one time.
No.
So when you were in the Hell's Angels, then you obviously went to jail.
Yes, twice. I mean, and before that, like I had been in trouble a bit, but just for mediocre fighting things and stuff like that, because drinking and carrying on. But then things got a little bit more serious with the club, and I got caught up in a couple of big drug busts and that. So one, I got a 5-year sentence, and so that took me away from my wife and kids for 5 years. I had a job for 29 years at Chrysler, which was a good job, and I lost all that because I went to prison and ended up losing my job and losing my pension, so my family hurts over that. And then after the 5-year sentence, I was only out a few months and ended up getting a 9-year sentence.
Oh, no.
So for 14 years, I was away from my family. I could do it, but it wasn't fair what I put them through.
So tell me how that's like. Like, how is it that, do you think of your wife and kids in the moment of what you were doing to be put in jail, or is it just a lifestyle that you just got caught into?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good question. I'd say a lifestyle I get caught into, and I lived it to the fullest. I could say that's the only thing I knew. And I had a lot of friends that say I was a 1% of the 1% because I lived it to the fullest. And that's the way another one do God's work now, is to the fullest. I don't believe half measures avail us nothing. So I just give everything my all, and that's what I did in that lifestyle. And the best thing I can say about it is I'm glad it's in the past.
Yes, that's the best part. So I do have a question, like, do you ever wonder, when you were sitting alone in your cell, do you ever stop and think, how did I get here? How did I get here?
Yes, and because the only book, like, I spent quite a bit of time in a hole, because even in there I misbehaved. And the only book you'd get in there was the Bible. And so I did read it, but I never gave it much thought, really, because what I always looked at back then is he was a punishing God. Oh, it was God because I was put in here, and, so I never knew nothing about Christianity or about the Lord. All I did was blame him, basically, for putting me in there because, I thought I was an okay guy at some times, and, I wasn't that bad of a guy, but it was all God's fault that he put me in there is the way I looked at it then.
I think a lot of people look at it like that, because everybody thinks it's God's punishing me, but they don't realize it's Satan punishing you, right?
Exactly.
He's the one that's driving the boat for most people, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that's pushing you into these spots, and he's the one that is like saying, it's okay, Shawn, you just go ahead and do these things, so it's not God, but people blame God for a lot.
Exactly. That's what I mean. That's why now that, my eyes have been open, and, people would say that to me before, I just look at them, but they got to understand when your eyes are open, really, and you get the spirit in you, it's just something that's truly, truly, truly amazing. Like, he changed me overnight. I got changed overnight. Like, it was, it's real. I would have thought before, like, you guys are just phonies and this and that. And that's just being honest.
That's okay.
You know what I mean? And there's no phony there. It's for real, and God is real. The Holy Spirit is real, because he came into my life, and he's changed me.
So when did you give your heart to the Lord? Was this like in the jails?
No, it was after I came home. I'd been home about a year from prison, my last prison sentence. And this was 2000. And I was at home, and it was funny because all the prison time I've done and everything, it never brought me to my knees. But I started getting anxiety bad for some reason. I don't know what brought it on.
Softening of your heart. Maybe softening of your heart.
That's now how I look at it, exactly. Like, everything now that I look at in retrospect, that was God's way, I think, of telling me, Shawn, I keep giving you so many wake-up calls and you're not getting them. So I think that anxiety brought me to my knees, and I got on my knees and I said, Lord, I don't know who or what I'm supposed to do, but I can't do my own life anymore. I'll give you my life to the fullest if you change me. And the next one, that was September of 2020. And the next morning I knew something had changed, totally changed me. Because I haven't watched TV since that day. I haven't turned my TV on because it's just full of drugs and violence and nonsense. And it's just not me anymore. Yeah. It's totally, totally not me.
That's good. So God is like totally transforming. So does your wife serve the Lord as well, that both of you is together?
Yes. Because I went up that morning and said, hon, something's changed. I mean, I asked for help and something's changed. And she said, oh, good. And I think that she wanted to give it a bit of time to make sure that it, that it was a real thing. And
Right.
after about 3 or 4 months, she started coming to church with me, and she got saved.
Wow, that's
So
so good.
that was about 5 months after me that she went up and got saved. We both got baptized, and it's been great.
That's
It's been
amazing.
great.
So now, a whole shift in the whole, like it's like a 180 where you've come from. Do you ever look back and wonder, wow, like I couldn't have got here without the Lord?
Daily. I think, like we were talking about before, how, I never looked at it back then because, I'd never given the Lord any credit or anything because I didn't really know him. But I look at it now as only because of the Lord that I made it through so much of the nonsense. Like guns put in my mouth, triggers pulled and it not going off. Car accidents where they pronounced me dead and I'm alive. So like all of this, obviously the Lord's kept me alive. And I believe he's kept me alive so I can put his word out there and show people that he is for real.
That's right. That is so true. Because there's no way you could go through all that and come out to do nothing.
Exactly.
God has had his hand upon you the whole entire time. So a question I'm asking you, because I don't know either. So people that you had been in jail with and different people that you have had that other life with, have you ever been in touch with them about how great God has changed your world now?
With a couple, yes. But anybody that's active and that's still in the club and that I don't associate with anymore. Just because, I don't want that lifestyle to get caught up in me anymore. Because if you're around that, the police think that you're still involved in it, and I just can't distance myself so far from it that I don't want nothing more to do with it. But if anybody ever asks me for help or asks me what this life is like now, I'd be the first one to tell them that it's such a better life to live with the Lord than what we were living within. And I've talked to a couple guys that I was in jail with now, and actually they started coming to church with me, so it's worked out pretty good.
It's so good, because I love that you can sow into people's lives now. Like, so now are you doing prison ministry? Or are you just trying to get into prison ministry?
I'm trying to get into the prison ministry. I've talked to a couple of men that are running it, and I just have to go through some of the red tape now, because being who I used to be, I guess that it'll take a couple extra steps, and I don't blame them. They want to make sure that I am real,
Sure.
and I'm fine with that. And the only thing that will prove that is I keep doing what I'm doing, showing them that I'm all for real and I am for the Lord. But I'm doing so much out here now with helping the street people and helping the addicts and that. Like, we have a couple of gangster ministries which feeds the homeless, and then we have a couple other ministries that are putting up addicts in the house until they get treatment centers. So I'm really out there on the front lines helping people. And by doing that, it's a faith-based. So we always tell them first and foremost that it's only possible by God doing it.
Absolutely. But if you hadn't gone through that lifestyle, like I think nobody can minister to somebody unless they've been there, right? Unless you've been in the pit, the hardest part, that's a hard lifestyle that you lived, And so unless you've been there, you cannot even try to understand, because you think that they're crazy. Like Christians are crazy. You're like, well, that's just put on. There's no way you can do that. There's no way you can be that. There's no way you can hear from God. And that is true, correct?
No, 100%. I said earlier, like if somebody had said this to me 6-7 years ago, I thought, you guys are crazy. And it's so sad to think, like I said, I had the one brother out of all of us that was a Christian. And we used to mock him. You know what I mean? It was so sad. We used to mock him because, we called him weak and everything else. And far from it, totally far from it. Like, when I look now,
I was at my parents' cottage, and I was the only Christian at that point in our family. And I had opened the Bible and I was writing everybody's names down. And, some people had passed on, right? And my brother said to me, if you put my name in that Bible, I will rip it out of your hands and I will burn it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty strong, independent woman.
Yeah.
And so I said, I'm going to put your name in this. And if you think that you can come and take this from me and rip it out of my hands and burn it, you go for it. He didn't come near me. So God does protect you in certain spots. Some people are all talk.
Yes.
Like, have you not noticed that through your walk with Christ?
A lot. Like, and people say, like, well, you're not afraid of anybody coming after you anymore, this and that. And I couldn't be further from that, because I know that the Lord has my back and I have nothing to worry about. I really, really mean that I know with my whole heart that I am safe and with him, because he's not going to let nothing happen to me unless it's supposed to. And I'm a winner either way, because if something ever did happen, I know where I'm going.
Exactly. I love that. Yes. I love that, because before you knew where you were going there,
exactly.
You likely were feeling like you lived in hell at that point.
That's what I thought back then.
Like, I can't imagine what you went through that jail time. Like, the amount of everything that goes on. I am married to a retired police officer, so, like, he's never experienced jail. But, it's like, that's a tough lifestyle.
It's a world inside of a world. Like I say, I thought, living on the street, being the Hell's Angel, and doing all that lifestyle was crazy. But in prison, it's a total another world.
That's a next crazy level.
It's the next crazy level, because it's all the craziest of the crazies in there. But that's the sad part about it, is you adapt to it, and much longer. They say that you can get institutionalized, and I can see how that can happen, because any longer than the 9 years, that's sorry to say, but I think I could have been institutionalized, because it changes your mind that bad that you got to adapt to it, that it would be pretty hard to come out.
Kind of living in the lifestyle of that.
Of that, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think the Lord said you'd had enough. Now you don't want to go back. We'll send you home, and you can come and work for me now.
Wow, I love that. So now you are ministering in different churches and like telling your testimony about where you came from.
Yes, that's what I've been going around, and that's what I love to do. But I'm just keep praying and leave that in God's hands. I've been going around to some different churches and giving my testimony. I'd love to start working with kids or people institutionalized, but it's all in God's timing. And I just believe that I do have the story out there. Like you say, the people that can relate to me are people that are been there. And the best person that can talk to you is somebody that's been there themselves. So I think in God's time, he'll put me where I need to be. I'm looking so forward to it.
Well, plus not that, working with street people, because, I never been in jail, but I look at people who come into jail and I think, but did they just release you to do whatever? Like, there's no counseling, there's no, putting you back into society, helping you find a job. Well, make no wonder you go back into the same
Exactly.
lifestyle.
That's exactly, you hit it right on the head. That's it. People come out and they don't have the help or the resource that they need. And that's why some of these houses that we've opened up, well, there's 2 houses in Oshawa, Redemption House and Recovery. And I was part of starting that. And it's showing people how to fill out resumes. It's giving them housing until they can get on their feet and get a job. And so that's what I think the cities need, is to help the people like that and show them how to do it, not just you're on your own. Because even myself, when I come out and I didn't have a job anymore, I've had the wife and the kids with me, but I was lost for a bit. Like, after doing that sentence, I was scared. I didn't want to be around people, so I sat at home, and it was a different feeling when you come home like that after a prison sentence. So,
well, you're lost, because I feel that when you're in that environment, you are told to get up, have a shower. This is when you're eating. This is when you're going outside. This is when you're doing whatever you're doing. And everything is regiment.
Exactly.
And then you come out and you have all this freedom, but it's too free. And not only that, I feel that you're traumatized. Your brain is traumatized into what you've had to experience.
Exactly, like that. And then you get out and, you have to start from scratch. You might not have a place to live. How do you travel? How do you get from A to B? Like you say, it's a lot to have to deal with. And I think, like you say, that's some of the answers that would be so helpful with people is that if they had something to come out to look forward to, some housing where they could get started, and something like that was faith-based, where they could hear a bit about the Lord and let them make the decision. And if they see it that it works for other people, maybe that's what they would lead to.
I love this. I actually hope and pray today that this interview goes worldwide, and this man of God here, he will open doors of opportunity for people coming out of jail. To have these places to put people, to reintegrate people into society, give them a job, fill out a job application, show them what it's like to be loved instead of fight your way through life.
Exactly.
That would be my answer for you. I don't know if that's your answer, but...
No, totally right. Because I hear the government spending so much money here, or the city spending so much money here, and I don't think it's really helping the root cause, where if they talk to someone, and I'm just not tooting my own horn by no means, just somebody that's been there could help them with, if you did it this way, and it'd be a lot cheaper, and I think it would help a lot more people.
I agree, because you likely slipped back into that lifestyle because you came out to what? Like nobody helped you.
Exactly.
Right? So you go right back into that lifestyle.
To the only way that I knew how to make the money, which was the criminal activity again. Exactly.
So to kind of retrain your brain to be able to know, wow, so there is another life. But how do you get there? How do you get to that other life?
Exactly.
That must have been tough for you.
It was tough for me, but how you just said it there was so right on the money. Whereas if other people had that same thing, some loving, some compassion, and you tell them that, you show them, it's gonna work, because I don't think there's anyone out there as bad as what bad can be that doesn't want love and compassion. So if you're showing them that, I think it can work. I really believe that it can work with the biggest majority of people.
It's so good. Like interviewing you has been eye-opening to me, because I've always had these questions like, what happens to all these people? Like, what happens to these people that come out of jail? And who's there? I know at Pastor Stanley that, he's the one that has kind of organized the art broadcasting network. And he has always said, I want to have these homes. I want to have these homes for people. I want to have a center where people can come and be rehabilitated.
Nice.
Where people can come and find homes, where people can come and be educated, that you don't run into that. And that was my pull to this ministry. Because I am sure I'm like you. I don't want to be a church warmer, a pew warmer. I don't want to be a pew warmer. What's the purpose of that?
That's right. When we're supposed to be out there helping people and serving people, and who better to serve than the people that don't know the Lord and people that need the help?
Exactly.
And I think if we just show them and lead them that way, I think that we could be saving a lot more people. I really believe that.
You're amazing. I love that you're so real, and I love that you don't put airs on, right? I find sometimes when you're in church circles, sometimes people are like, oh yeah, everything's great, but it doesn't work like that. We've all been in the ditches.
Exactly.
Right?
I've been going to a Bible study the last few weeks, and the pastor said, what was the word? He said, you're an evangelist. And I thought, wow, that's pretty good for only being, I'm a new Christian. I'm not even 4 years yet, so I'm still a baby. I'm looking so forward to it.
I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am to have you today. How excited I am that you will change the demographic of the world. God saved you from that moment of being in jail for this moment. This is your moment. We were talking in between a little break about how I was a bar singer. I was brought up in that world also. And I really thought that the church was so perfect that I could never conform to this.
Exactly. That's what I'm finding out too, that there's people in the church will take all walks of life, you know what I mean? And we don't have to be perfect. God came to save the sinner.
That's right.
And we're all just a part of the body, and we're all here to be to be what we're called to do, and whatever his calling is, I'm up for it. And I'm so looking forward to it. It's great. I'm real honored for doing this interview, and I really hope that somebody gets something out of it.
Somebody will absolutely get something out of this testimony. You know, we do testimonies. Shawn is a guy that I have prayed for coming into these testimonies. He is the man that I've been looking for to come into this. Because, you know, church people, like, we're all born and raised or whatever, and some people born and raised, but you and me are not born and raised in a church. So exactly. We know that lifestyle of crazy, and where God, like, we know the saving grace of God. You know, it's so beautiful, isn't it?
Only too well, like I said, you know, and to not know nothing about it before and to see how he's changed me, it's got nothing to do with me. I've done none of it. It's all by God's grace, and it's so just, it's so amazing. Like I said before, I would have said, you're making it up, or it's, you know, it can't be real. But I'm living proof that it's real, because the changes that have happened to me, it's been not by me, it's been by the grace of God, and I'm so blessed.
So good. Blessed. You talked about anxiety a while back ago, but I honestly not sure if it's anxiety or that God has softened your heart so much.
That's, when I look at it now, I think that's exactly what it was, is he was starting to give me my new heart. And I think that was his way of saying, like, giving me a little shake and saying, Shawn, it's time to wake up. You know what I mean? I've given you so many chances, and you just don't seem to get it. And I think that's what it was doing. He was putting in the new heart. And
you likely had never felt those feelings before, because you blocked it, right? You blocked those feelings.
Blocked them with the drugs and the alcohol and anything. But yes, and now that I have them feelings, it's good. Yeah.
It's amazing. Well, Shawn, thank you so much for coming on board with us. You and me could likely have an interview for like a week about all the things that you walked through.
Yes.
You know, people's lives are so different, right? We all walk through different things, but he is sitting here as a testimony of how great God is. How God can take a man like Shawn, which he likely thought he deserved that lifestyle, right? And totally changed his life. You know, the Ark of God is the most incredible ministry I've ever been involved in. And this man sitting beside me, Shawn, I hope he comes to speak on the stages where we're going to be, because you will be able to reach people that we will never, ever be able to touch. And I'm excited to see, maybe God doesn't want you in the prison ministry. Maybe he wants you in the Ark ministry to minister to the street people, where it keeps you nice and strong and tight with other Christians, right? Sometimes we think God's going to take us one way and he takes us another way.
Wherever he leads me, I'm sure it's going to be great. So I'm looking forward to it anyway. It's really good. And I'm blessed. And I want to thank you so much for having me. And I believe you're going to do wonders. I really do.
I know we will. So yes. I'm so excited. So thank you again for coming. Is there anything else you'd like to share today?
No, I'm real happy to be here and honored to be here. And God is real. Believe me, God's real.
Well, I'm telling you something. You write it down today. This testimony that you've seen, and you're going to watch this man of God grow. God is going to use him like he's never used you before. So if you need to get a hold of us, at the end of the broadcasting, you will be able to find an email. We will get you in touch with Shawn. He's not so much an email kind of guy, but we'll work with him and his wife. She's amazing, so she does all the emails for him. But if you need to reach out today, if you need a touch of God, if you know that you're really dealing with drugs or dealing with alcohol, this man of God is a testimony that God can change anybody. So thank you for joining us today. I am so blessed. I hope you're blessed today too. Have a great day.
Thank you.